So culturally relevant pedagogy recognizes the bias in our standardized education system. What culturally relevant pedagogy does is it allows for students' identities to not only be affirmed but bound within the classroom instruction and in greater academia. When our students come to us, their rights as individuals, their rights to language, their rights to their histories, their rights to their own names are violated throughout the schooling process. So culturally relevant pedagogy insists that we take the qualities of our students, whether they be their histories, their traumas, their cultural beliefs and attitudes towards education, towards mathematics, towards different content levels, and we use that to leverage their education in the classroom. We use that to build meaningful context and to build spaces where our students of color can feel affirmed in our classrooms. In fact, when our students come to us, they don't leave their identity at the door. Our students are not blank canvases. They bring with them histories thousands of years ago, and they bring with them very true and valuable realities that we can use in our classrooms. And when we do that, when we affirm students and who they are, the trauma that they've undergone, the feats and successes that they've overcome, we then begin to humanize our students. And when we humanize our students, they humanize themselves and they start to fall in love with themselves. They begin to develop love not only for themselves, but their communities as well. And when you love yourself, you defend yourself and you defend your community. And something that has happened throughout our entire history as people of color is that we have been victims of oppression. And we have been victims of oppression because the system does not allow us opportunities or access points to defend ourselves. Knowledge is power, and knowledge will never be divorced from power. And culturally relevant pedagogy makes our students powerful. So every community is different. Every community's cultural practices, beliefs, and assets are going to be different, even if school campuses are just feet away. So the first step that I took was creating a community cultural wealth map. And what it is, it's a graphic organizer, if you will, that categorizes different strengths and assets in the community. And these categories stretch from cultural capital to resistant capital, to linguistic capital, to historical capital, all sorts of rich capital and wealth that our students have. So as I began that process moving here 7 years ago, I made sure to get to know the block, get to know the neighborhood, and to feel safe in the neighborhood. So I began asking questions to community members, people waiting at bus stops, teachers and students who are here in the area as well. At Irving Middle School, we were able to leverage that amazing community cultural wealth in the classroom was at the onset by creating murals. We married mathematical Texas standards that are very rigorous to the mural making process, which was significant in Chicano movements, which was significant in any rebellions throughout our world and our globe. So we wanted to make sure that we gave students a voice and that they were able to recognize that voice through a mathematical lens. Other fun things that we've done is we've created tortillas in the classroom connected to those experiences that we share with our grandmothers and our mothers, because oftentimes when we close our classroom doors, we also close the doors on very valuable family members. And many times growing up as brown people, as black people, as native people, we don't feel as though our families are academic. In fact, we are at times, from what I've noticed, embarrassed of our families and do not recognize the wealth and the knowledge that they have and they have given to us generationally. So things like making tortillas, which might seem stereotypical or which may seem simple, are extremely rigorous, include proportions and ratios like pi and calculations that require more than your rote memorized worksheet. Other things that we've done is we've challenged power. So I want my students to understand that the knowledge that we're learning can be challenged. because an adult or because someone of the greater dominant class, because the people that document our history tell us something is so, doesn't mean that it is true. And it's our job to fight for the reality and the truth.